Hey, what's up, guys? Houston here. Look, if you or a family member want to build up your credit, but you don't want to deal with credit cards, I'm going to show you 5 ways you actually can build up credit without a credit card. Now, many people do this because they're trying to build up the credit so their kid can possibly get their own car in their name or student loans. They may have a family member or a spouse that has a thin credit file and they want to add them onto the company so they can apply for credit, for loans and stuff like that to be able to help grow the business. So there could be a multiple reasons why you may want to help a loved one to build up their credit. But I'm going to show you some of the fastest and easiest ways to build up the credit without a credit card. Now, the first one we're talking about is a debit. That's right, a debit card. All right. Now, here's the reason why I tell you the number one reason about a debit card. Because everybody usually has a debit card, okay? If they have a bank account, they have a debit card, okay? However, people are not aware all of those debit card transactions can actually be reported to their credit file, okay? And this will actually not only build their credit, but it will also give their credit file an extra boost, all right? Now, here's the debit cards that I would actually tell you to take a look at besides your regular bank. The first one we're talking about is the Extra. But this Extra debit credit card, all right, it connects to your regular bank, all right, and it looks at all your regular transactions and stuff like that. And the amount of those transactions are calculated, and that's what's reported monthly, all right. Now, here's the thing about it. They report to Experian and Equifax, okay? Now, it's a app that you have to download on the phone. Now, for some of you all may not be able to get access to this product. Now, if you're not able to get access to this product, then the next product you want to look at is with Experian, okay? So Experian has a new debit checking account, okay? And so with that debit checking account, everybody has access to this that can utilize this here product to help build up their credit. Now, the only thing about it with this here product, it only reports to Experian, okay? So just keep that in mind. But if you're able to get both of these, great. Now, here's the thing about it. I want to be transparent. Because of your debit transactions and stuff, depending on how you're actually paying your bills and stuff, whether you're paying your rent, we're going to talk about that because that's a key component that most people are still not taking advantage of. But your utilities and subscriptions and stuff like that, that's also can help build up the credit, and we're going to talk about that. Now, there's one other company, and it's called Current, all right? And they've got a debit credit builder as well, right? And so most of the time you would see it report to the TransUnion. So where these here companies here may not report to with their debit cards to the TransUnion file, this company Current will report to TransUnion. All right. So this is the first one. All right. The second one we're going to talk about is AUs. Okay. That's short for authorized users. So with the authorized users, basically you're borrowing somebody else's credit, okay, to boost up your credit score. Now, here's the thing about it. I want you all to understand. Many people, they may find somebody with a new credit card that they just got $25,000 on a new credit card, and they add you as an authorized user. That's not going to help your credit. And here's the reason why. Because there's no credit history on it. It's just a trade line. All right. So people are like, well, that $25,000 should lower my DTI. Again, that information is not picking up. All right. It's just on there, but it's not helping the credit. So there's no credit history behind it. So you have to be very careful in terms of when people are adding you on as an authorized user, because if maybe the history may not pick up, but like the amount of the credit limit is good at some point, but making sure that the amount of the payment history has been for at least 2 years with no missing payments. So that's the reason I say, like, somebody just got a credit card, they don't have that 2-year payment history. And so because of that, it's not calculating into your file as well. So even if you forget about that original date of the history, that payment history is what's going to really count. All right. So that's another thing, adding authorized users. So for those of you that don't know how to pick or choose the right authorized user, you can click the link in the description, schedule a one-on-one consultation, and I'll show you exactly which is the best authorized users to use. Now, that's the second thing. The third thing is rental payments. All right. Now, here's the thing about it with rental payments. A lot of our community, okay, a lot of people in our communities, okay, is what's happening is that when it comes to rental payments, they're either paying with Zelle, Venmo, or they're doing cash out, or they're just paying people cash or a money order. Well, here's the thing about it. Even if you're paying your rent that way, you're missing out on the opportunity to get that reported as a trade line, as well as getting that to help boost up your credit. And one other thing about it, because that data is not being reported, all right, you're missing out on the opportunity to age your credit file as well. Okay, so that's the reason I tell you guys, and I'll put a link below, that you really should have your rental payment being paid. All right. Now, there's a company out there, like say that you have a debit card. When you do that transaction with your debit card and stuff like that, make sure you document it as rental payment. Like even if you have like your Venmo or something like that that's coming from your bank account and it's been documented as rental payment, sometimes the company can actually pick up that data and report it. All right. So that way, if you've been in a place for 1 year, 2 year, 5 years paying rent, what ends up happening is because once that rent is actually paying, showing up on the credit file, it's usually going to show up 2 years of payment history and then the original date that you actually started paying rent. Okay, so you may have started paying rent 5 years ago, but it's only going to pick up 2 years of rent payment. Again, that's help updating and backdating your credit file, which is very important to have that credit history on there. So you must understand that when somebody, if you're paying rent to somebody, you want to either make sure the landlord, or even if you're sharing, if you're splitting the rent with somebody, then you want to make sure, as I indicated, this is for rent payment. Okay. Now, there's another way you can do it in terms of getting the rent paid so it can be tracked as well. And it's through this company called Plastic. Okay. It's called plastic.com. Now, here's the thing about it. You would hook up your debit card to this here company and they'll send over a check to whoever you want to send over a check to. All right. Yes, they do charge a fee for it. However, it'll show that it's actual a rental payment. Or like I say, if you're doing it directly through your bank, to give them the money, stop giving money orders and cash. Stop that. I know people like, well, that's the only way. No. They'll accept it any way they can, as long as you're paying the rent. Okay. The reason is because you are missing out on a trade line, and because the rent payment is not, you won't be able to qualify for a mortgage. Okay. By you having that rental payment on it, it's going to help you qualify for a mortgage. So that's the reason that you actually want that on there. All right. So rental payments. Now, here's one that's really going to get under some people's skin, but it actually is a trade line. This is child support. Right? Now, I always tell people, I want to get the child support off my credit file or whatever. Look, here's the thing about it. This is a trade line. All right. And if you have a judgment against you to pay child support and you're making those payments on time, that's a trade line. That's a trade line. And most people don't get this. They're so adamant, I need to get this child support off. Why? Why? If you're making your payments on time and it's reporting on time accurately and the dollar amount and everything, you don't want to get rid of that trade line. Okay? Because this trade line will help you qualify for other loans. So that's the reason that you don't want to get that child support unless it's a frivolous child support now. If it's a frivolous, then of course. But if it's legitimate child support and you're making your payments and stuff on time, that's a trade line. So don't look at it as a bad thing. All right? So then another way is student loan. Now, here's the thing about it. You have your private student loans and you have your government student loans. All right? Now, here's the thing about it. With your private student loans, they are actually looked at as a regular loan, okay? They don't have the same bankruptcy protection as well. And in terms of if you end up defaulting on a private student loan, it qualifies under that 7 years has to come off, okay? They can't, unless they take legal action against you, this here is actually just like a regular loan. Now with the government student loan, this is where you don't have that bankruptcy protection, okay? However, here's the thing about it. If you default on this government student loan, they will give you a restart date, okay? After 9 on-time payments and stuff, they usually will give you a restart date, all right? Now, here's the thing about it. I'll tell you something about these student loans. When or if you file default on these student loans, most of the time, these student loans have an insurance policy on them, okay? And the insurance company give them a loan verification certificate saying what the amount that they actually paid. And that's on the government loans as well as the private loans, okay? So that's the reason I tell people, whenever you default on student loans, in which I should make it a separate video explaining this, but you never want the contract. You never want a contract. You want the accounting records so you can see if you had insurance. And most people, because of law, they cannot issue a loan without an insurance policy on it, okay? Because that loan is drawing interest, okay? And so in case of default, there has the insurance policy. So that's the reason why, all right? So never ask for the contract. The contract doesn't mean anything. You want the actual accounting records, and it would show like what your premiums were actually going to. All right. So I should make that a separate video to explain it, but I just wanted you all to know. Now, here's another thing that you can actually do in order to build up credit without a credit card so that you can get an 850 credit score. And now you have your credit builder loans, all right? Now, a lot of these credit builder loans is no credit check and stuff like that. Now, you can get these through credit unions, you can get them through banks, or you can go through these alternative lenders and stuff like that. Now, one of the ones on the alternative lender, if you're looking for a high trade line, then up to $25,000 trade line, all right? And I'll put a link below for it. All right, because they give you trade lines up to $25,000, but you also have like Kickoff. They give you, I think it's $750. Yeah, Chime that can help as well. All right, so there are multiple credit builder loans out there. The reason that you need the credit builder loans, again, as well as these other factors to help factor in, because these credit builder loans, like I know with like Kickoff, they offer a line of credit. So with that line of credit, it's a revolving account, okay? So more accounts you have on the file, the better your credit file is, okay? Now, again, because these here accounts here, especially debit card accounts, they're constantly reporting and stuff like that. So in terms of when you want to try to go get funding and stuff, Some of the easiest institutions you may want to go to are companies that offer either a Vantage score or a FICO 9 scoring, okay? Now, if you guys have any other questions about business credit funding, personal credit funding, removing negative items off of the credit, click the link in the description. Schedule a one-on-one consultation. Thank you.